Hey everybody, it is Chuck Barone, Wednesday, September the 4th, 2024. It's the going over the hump of a crazy ass week, moving into some important data tomorrow. A lot of interesting stuff today, though. I thought today was kind of just be a day, nothing happening, everybody waiting for job stuff. Nope, lots of cool stuff to talk about today. It's going to be an interesting little show we got going for you guys today. Anyway, before that I get rolling, which I am prone to do, let me take a half a second, welcome everybody to the show. And as always, thank you guys for your support. And it means the world to me, guys. It's the reason I keep coming back here every day to do this stuff. It certainly is not for the millions, okay? Um, I just, and the cool thing is lately, I've been pretty good. I've been right about some stuff, right? Which is kind of nice. Crazy doings today. Let's get into it. All right. So we know we got big data coming. Tomorrow we'll get jobless. We'll get some consumer data. Friday we'll get the jobs report. That's what everybody's holding their breath about. Today we got the JOLTS, which is the basic report that the labor department puts out about how many job openings there are in the U.S. And this number is like just. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not down to zero, but compared to what it was just a short time ago and where it is today, you can see this job market now really starting to ratchet itself down. A little bit of panic setting in. Odds of maybe a half-point cut coming in September on the rise, up to 43% probability now, guys. So big doings happening in these markets right now. The stock market was kind of a weird mixed day today. I think it was another one of those let's wait and see days. So the Dow was up just a small amount. Dow up 38 points today, sitting at 40,974. The NASDAQ falls 57 points. Tech stuff not in favor right now, sitting at 17,084 points on the NASDAQ. The S&P down just 8 points today, sitting at 5,520. So you can see the markets, they're really, even though they were mixed, there just was not a lot of real action in these markets today. I didn't check volume, but I'm going to guess it was a pretty low volume day as well. The bond market, though, interesting doings in the bond market, guys. Now, I'm sure some of you guys saw them reinverted. So now the 10-year is actually higher yielding than the 2-year is. First time in frickin' years. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later and what it means for the economy. But so now it was inverted. Now it's reverted. Whoa, bond market coming back to a little bit of normal shape. So listen to these numbers. Big doings in the bond market today. Somebody's buying bonds. The 10-year falls 7 basis points, 3.77% on the 10-year. The 2-year falls 12 basis points, now 3.76. You can see that you got the 2-year at 7.6, the 10-year at 7.7. So it's the narrowest. Interesting that it actually closed that way today, though. We'll see. It's good. I just thought it was fascinating. We've been kind of talking about that a little bit, that this is a possibility this could happen. So now a little bit later, we'll talk about what does it mean. The dollar today get beat up pretty bad. The dollar down 40 basis points on the index. Dollar sitting at 101.32 on the index. Still a decent number, all things considered. We know we got interest rates coming. We know the market's going to get ahead of that. That's going to bring the dollar down some. The big factor in the market right now, though, is these frickin' short sellers. Now you got people in the futures market short selling the dollar against other currencies, right? And that is putting additional pressure on bringing down the value of the dollar. These guys in the market, they don't care about anybody but their profit here, right? So knocking the dollar down a peg, if they can make money, well, they'll do it. Remember George Soros, how he made all his money beating the British sterling into oblivion? Same kind of situation going on right now with the U.S. dollar. Metals, precious metals today rally up just a small amount. Gold up $1.40. now sitting at $2,495.20 for an ounce of gold. Would like to see gold get back above that 2,500 number. Silver rallies up 17 cents today, $28.18. Looks like silver's going to make another run at 30 before it goes down and tests lows again. We'll keep an eye on silver, guys. That's the one that's been kind of lagging what I really thought it would be doing by now. Oil today falls again, man, down another $1.51 per barrel. Now sitting at $68.83 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate. Hopefully that'll lead to a little bit of relief for us at friggin' gas pumps. I mean, if oil went from, $76 or from 68 to 76, we would see it reflected pretty quickly when we were buying gas, right? Now that it's come from 76 down to 68, let's see how quick we see it at the gas pump. I'm guessing it won't be quite as fast, right? And finally, closing out markets, Bitcoin today down very small, down $227, 57,925. Bitcoin trying to get its bearings back now. It took a run at 60, broke over, couldn't hold it, broke back through again. So I guess kind of a double top there if you're charting it, I'm guessing. And now broke back down under. My thinking is it probably would go test the lows around 52,000. It looks like it's kind of stalling out here at 57 and almost 58. So let's see now as we finish this week out and move into next week, if Bitcoin's going to go down and test lows or going to make another run at 60,000. All right. So let's talk about news you guys need today because it was an interesting day. Okay, the first thing was the JOLT report, right? The JOLTS report. Labor Department puts that report out for us, shows the amount of job openings in the economy, at least their nearest estimate to the amount of jobs open in the economy. JOLTS comes out today, 7.7 million openings, the lowest total in 3.5 years, guys. This is, boom, opening. Remember just a short time ago, we were talking, we had 12.5 million job openings. They were talking about, 2 jobs for every person that was looking for a job, right? Now they're parity. So there's only basically 1 job for every person looking for a job. So job openings coming down, hiring's coming down. We still haven't seen the big mass numbers in layoffs yet, okay? But obviously, looks like the strategy, at least at this point, is hold the employees we have, but let's hold off on bringing anybody new on. Seems to be kind of where the corporate world's going. I don't know, though. I think, you have seasonal hiring every year before the holidays, right? Retail stores looking to add a few people. Now, we'll see if they're going to really add as many as usual, though, because, a lot of people would rather do their shopping at Amazon, get out of those crowds and, have it delivered right to your freaking front door, porch pirate season. And, we'll see how all of this plays out. And, will they really be hiring? Do they really going to need a whole bunch of extra people? Or will they give the people they already have extra hours? Or how are they going to manage it? It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out as part of the job situation that is really, really the economic focal point right now, as far as, it seems like we're moving toward recession or maybe even in a recession, but we've had such mixed, weird signals going on, seems like forever. And when that yield curve first inverted, I was convinced recession coming, man. Now it's reverted, and I'm pretty much still convinced recession coming. But now I'm starting to sound like Kiyosaki or one of those other guys, the perma bears who are always predicting the recession or the depression is coming. But I just, I'm not a believer in this. We're going to get out of this inflation without a little bit of pain. It doesn't seem like we're really paying the price for anything economically anymore. Man, we got 36 trillion in debt. We're paying more in interest now than we're paying for defense. Basically almost up to $1 trillion friggin' a year just to service debt. We got all this shit piling up on everybody. Consumers going broke, businesses, commercial real estate. We got all kind of stuff pointing toward, the economy weakening, right? You got, this job situation, lowest number of job openings in 3.5 freaking years. That doesn't sound good to me. All right, moving on. Bostic, Atlanta Fed president, Bostic, out today. This guy is super dovish, okay? He's typically a guy, he's a low rate guy. But Bostic says, quote unquote, we must not keep interest rates too high much longer, unquote. Whoa. Okay, that's a pretty bold statement. We all know this interest rate's coming, but I think that Bostic and some of those other doves on the Fed board will certainly be arguing for a larger rate cut than the Hawks will be. He said it risks causing too much damage to employment. He said waiting to hit the 2% target, which has been what I've been kind of a little bit worried about, right? He said waiting to hit the 2% target, quote, would risk labor market disruptions that could inflict unnecessary pain and suffering, unquote. How bad do you think unemployment could get here, Fed President Bostic? I mean, unnecessary pain and suffering. The Fed people talk, they choose their words. Typically, they choose their words very carefully. So what is Bostic saying here, right? He said that now, in his view, that the risks to the economy now are way, way, way greater than risks to inflation. If there is a huge recession, typically that's going to bring prices down. That's why the Fed raises rates to begin with, right? Slow the economy down. So I think that Bostic making it well known that forget the target, man. That's not even in their field of vision right now. It's all about jobs. It's all about employment. They really felt like, that two jobs for every person looking for one was really inflationary. Now that they're down to basic parity, I think they're seeing that the job market's is in a little bit of distress, right? So he's letting us know, and he's also foreshadowing labor market disruptions and some serious pain and suffering, meaning we can anticipate, at least in Chairman Bostic's brain and my interpretation of his words, we're going to see a spike in unemployment. So we're going to get the best of it, right? Back to, again, 70s lessons, stagflation, stagnant economy, shitty job market, inflation still running high, hot, whatever. When they start cutting rates, man, do not think for a second that's not going to affect inflation rates. It's going to. So even though they're going to be cutting rates, we smash into a big recession toward the end of this year, well, or even into going into next year, because I really believe they'll find a way to fight it off until after the new year. So yay, new president. Get yourself inaugurated in January and start dealing with a big recession in February. Going to love it. Yay. So anyway, interesting doings by the Fed. I'm sure we're going to get more Fed people out. We'll get a few hawks out with their version of the way things are going right now. That'll give us a little bit more influence, because I think it was up to Bostic and the rest of the Fed doves. 0.5 point would be coming in September. All right. I'm already going over. I can see. Let me stop babbling here for a second. Bond yields normalize. They revert from the inverted, right? All right. So the 10-year now higher than the 2-year. This is the first time, maybe not, but I think maybe the first time that the 10-year has been higher than the 2-year since June 2022. So we've had this inverted yield curve now for more than 2 freaking years. So, okay, what does it mean? Now that it's gone back to normal, does that mean the economy is good, or does that mean the economy is bad? What does that mean? Well, sadly, it does not typically signal good times ahead, guys. Usually right, if the yield curve's inverted and the recession comes, usually right before or right at the beginning of the recession, it reverts. And that is basically the history of it, guys. In fact, the yield curve reverts right before the recession hits. So we have big storm clouds gathering on this whole recession thing, guys. So batten down the hatches, man. Get ready, because the things we've been talking about and preparing about, the reasons we've been talking about being conservative, holding part of your money, not getting additional debt on, paying down the debt you have, being a careful shopper, doing the old school stuff that we know works. Thank you, Joseph. Much appreciated. The old stuff that we know works. These are the reasons why. Because when this recession comes, number one, if you put together your FU money, you got $25,000 put away for your emergencies. So even if you lost your job, okay, what is the average income now? In Vegas, it's about $35,000. So if you have your 25 put away, you got almost a year's worth of wages stashed to help tide you over till you find another job, right? If you've been saving 10% of your income, which is what we've been suggesting, if you can save that much, or more if you can, but that's a good number. A lot of people can't even get to that number. You've been living that way. Number one, not only have you accumulated some real money, number two, you've learned to live within your means, which is just as valuable, believe it, bro, than the money you've saved. So all of the little things we've been talking about that everybody kind of makes fun of me because I'm not a razzle-dazzle guy, but just stick to the basics. Guess what? Here comes our reward for it. Because when this recession comes, when the storm hits, we're going to be the ones in the brick house. No straw, right? So that is really, really exciting news. I think that here's the odd thing that maybe you guys may not be aware of, right? The market, when we look at the inversion, we look at the 2-year and the 10-year. So that now today reverted. With the 10-year only 1 basis point, but the 10-year higher. The Federal Reserve looks at the 3-month and the 10-year. Okay. Now the 3-month Treasury is still 1.3% higher. So it's almost at 5%. Okay. Higher than the 10-year. So that is still inverted. And that is, I don't know why the Fed would look at that super short-term rate, but that's what they're looking at. So interestingly, even though we're seeing it revert, the Fed probably is not. So they may not react to it the way we would expect. But it typically is the signal recession coming. Texas and Florida, guys. Remember I've been talking to you guys about homeowners insurance in some of these areas of the country that are hit by these storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, and flooding and all kind of stuff. And what's happening with homeowners insurance. Now Texas and Florida, where they're two of the worst of those victims, I guess. Really, their condo sales there, for several reasons, just completely crashing. Supply flying. Listen to this, guys. Inventory on condominiums in Florida is up 53%. 53%. For sure, Dave. And you know why? Because of that condo collapse, right? So condos in Florida are a little bit different than they are in Texas, okay? So the condo collapse comes. You were right about this. I think it was in Hollywood, Florida, or somewhere in Florida. The condominium tower collapses. So if the state of Florida starts looking and they realize that this condo tower had good reason to collapse, it was in serious disrepair. The homeowners association for the condo was afraid to really hit the tenants up with a higher HOA rate or a one-time assessment to bring the building back up to a safe code status, right? So the building collapses. State of Florida comes, Yay for our lawmakers. They always want to do the right thing. So what do? They pass a law that you have to have all these inspections of these condos, which have been done and have led to massive, massive assessments of these condo owners. I mean, sometimes as high as $100,000 for each condo owner because they need to bring these buildings back up to code. And it is totally screwed the whole system up down there. And in Texas, a little bit different story with Texas because you've been having the hurricanes continually going through, right? And big billions and billions of dollars worth of damage. So the HOAs have had to raise their, so HOA rates, insurance rates going through the roof on these condos. That's why no one wants them. It's a total disaster, guys. You're going to be able to get oceanfront condo in Florida back at prices like when I used to live there back in the mid 90s. You know, I had a chance to buy a beautiful condo in Fort Lauderdale, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful lanai overlooking the ocean for 70 grand. So you're going to start seeing that kind of stuff coming around again because the condo will cost you 70,000. So you don't have to pay cash for that. You don't have a payment, but your association dues will be 1,000 a month or more, right? Am I right, Dave? Anyway, guys, that's it for the day. Tomorrow we'll get some really important data. We'll be here to bring you guys all the news. Fascinating times we're living in, guys. I'm telling you, we're living history. Make sure to be here tomorrow. That's it. I'm already running way over. Damn, sorry I've went back so long, guys. But on the way out, please hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. It helps us get more views. I will be on the comments later with you guys. So if you got any questions, concerns, want to make fun of me or whatever, see you in the comments. Until tomorrow, everybody. Go Bills!